Welcome back to the channel, guys and gals. So it's a brand new day, another video that needed to go out, and this is also where I do my catch-up stuff at and on my days off. In the last video, we did the conversion of a powered Menards F7 unit to a dummy unit. And again, that was simply removing the motors and disconnecting it from the board. Again, the circuit board is bad, so it's not conducting power to the motor assembly for whatever reason. Did test the remote. The remote is working. It does work on either locomotive, and we'll see that in a later video later today. Excuse me. The main thing is that I'm going to be putting some stuff up for sale. Now, it's not a lot of stuff. As y'all know, testing purposes, my son and I usually run a smaller track. Well, we've also got some big stuff here that requires a lot bigger radius curve. I do run 096, but for testing purposes, I try to run a smaller radius. And one of the things that has to be done is the the 072 is going to be a minimum for testing on a lot of this stuff. I should say that, due to the fact of the size of this stuff. And I do still have an 86-foot boxcar that is next to be built, or rebuilt, I should say, repainted and re-decaled. In fact, we're just waiting on the decals for the 86-foot boxcar to come in. And that one will keep its Penn Central colors. The other one is, what do I do with this combine car, if you want to call it that? What color do I go with it? What am I going to do? No idea yet. It could wind up being a Penn Central color, just to throw some different variations in there. So that's not, but don't take that as literal yet, because that's not set in stone. It could wind up becoming the first UP car for the Gus Hadley special train. And again, if y'all haven't gone to Gus Hadley, go check him out here on YouTube. It's Gus Hadley, Lunatic at Arno. Amazing man. Very, very amazing. He's got a wealth of knowledge. We talk a lot. And my man is just superb with his knowledge with the railroad. Of course, he did retire from the railroad as well. So, going back to what I was saying, is that we got some stuff coming up for sale. What is coming up for sale? Well, I've got some of this 036 track that came from sets that I don't use. So the 036 fast track, the 036 Menards track will be going up for sale on eBay or locally, or if somebody decides, one of the viewers here wants to purchase it, you're more than welcome to contact me. You can contact me at normankepner4@gmail.com, or you can message me through YouTube, and we can figure out how to communicate and get everything worked out. Also, the Menards 042 track will be going up for sale, along with I think I got some 036 Menards track. It's either 036 or 042, and I know I got some 050. What was that, 054? That was Menards, that is also going up for sale. I don't really use it, and it actually takes up a lot of room, so it's best to go ahead and let it go. Also, I have ordered the gear for the Alco, number 8021, and once it's fixed, then I'll be putting it back up for sale. The only reason I'm selling that locomotive is it's too far out of scale for what I do. And I know my son wants to keep it, but at the same time, you can't keep it all, right? The B unit, I said we'd get into a later discussion, and now's a good time to go ahead and talk about it. The B unit is a nice unit in itself. Needs a little bit of weight done to it. It's 3 inches too short, and it needs a 1/4 inch height in it. And if y'all been on this channel long enough, you know that's not a big deal for me. So what I'm going to do is try to obtain another Lionel Santa Fe B unit, and I'm going to stretch the one that I currently have to give it the scale length and give it the scale height by adding that 1/4 inch in. How I'm going to put it in there yet, I don't know. I don't know if I made it to the bottom or if I'm going to wind up cutting the body in half and then adding the 1/4 inch there. I'll get it all figured out. The bad downside to it all is that because it is an Alco and it was an early line L being 027, I'm not gonna be able to get the width on it. Okay, it's got to have a 2.5 inch width to be scale all the way through and through. I could do that, but I would have to buy a bunch of modification parts to be able to do it and make it look correct. So I'm not really going to go into that part of it, but I am going to at least bring it to scale length and scale height. A little bit off. I don't think too many people really notice it, especially from the side view. They'll be like, oh, okay, just another B unit, but they'll know it's been stretched. If I decide not to do that and go another way, then I'll work on, trying to find a scale B unit and redo it instead. If that winds up happening, then both those units will go up to sell together. Up together, and that'll be that. And we're also probably going to be selling off a few other things that we really don't run a lot of, because most of the stuff that we run here on this channel is scale or kit bashed or scratch built. So those are the things that we do keep here on this channel, especially preserving some of the older builds that we see people run. And we have one of our first brass coaches here, which was the coach that I have no idea what I'm going to paint it yet, but it's here. So that was going to be the first brass piece here on this channel. Oddly enough, I only paid $10 for it because the guy thought it was wood or some type of material that wasn't, well, it wasn't worth a lot. Well, come to find out, it was brass. So definitely getting projects finished up. Got a couple of cars to rebuild, a couple of coaches to rebuild. Looking forward to getting that done and getting those back on the rails and letting y'all see those run as well. Then we had the late 40s era passenger car that somebody hand built the trucks on it. So, and I didn't want to alter that because I was like, you know what, they're hand built. You just can't take away from that. You can add to it by adding diaphragms and steps and maybe some lighting or some type, but don't take away from the car itself. So I don't want to do that. And then we'll get into it. I also got a rebuild for this year on the very first kit bash that was done on this channel, and that was the Pennsylvania combines that I kit bashed and heavily modified to turn it into a coach. In fact, I'm kind of looking at it right here on the shelf right now. Well, I was proud of that one. Definitely needs some rework. Because it's just a little bit over 2.5 inches wide. But overall, it still runs good. It's just going to need a new roof. It's going to need some rework and kind of finessing, if you will. So that's what we got going on there. I think overall, my son and I are kind of at a point where we are more of, if we're not going to use it and not run it and it's not scale, we're getting rid of it. So other than the work train, which we started putting together, yes, a lot of that was 027, but it was one that he and I put together ourselves as father and son. So that one will definitely stay here on the channel. And as we're going through it, the next locomotive up on this channel after the tender's done, which it will be in primer today, will be the 2025. I've got to order a new E unit for it. and we're going to put an electronic E-unit in it. Reason for the electronic E-unit, after testing it on the 1938 262, also known as America, it proved a point that the E-unit, it was just drawing too much power. That thing's got so much power now, I have a hard time keeping it on the rails. So that's something that will be taken care of here directly with the 2025, and make sure that everything's running good there. And then, of course, we're building a long tender for it. So we got the first diesel tender that'll go behind the Santa Fe units. And then we're going to do the B unit another diesel tender for the UP, and a long tender. So we got 2 more tenders left to build. And pretty much I think that'll take care of all those projects, and then we'll pretty much be done with that. And then at some point here, I'd probably say the next couple of months, we're going to start working on a storage box that will actually look like a piece of furniture. But when you take the lid off, it'll have layers in there where you can put like a ZW transformer on both ends, depending on what side you run. Hand-built cars in there, lined up, that'll allow it to be sitting in there with a foam padding up around it. So that's going to be really nice to get done and allow for everything to ride nice, and so in a way for us to be able to keep everything stored away and keep them from getting damaged. So we'll be doing that. And then just my son's projects, he's still working on his animatronics, and he's gotten way far than I ever thought. And now we're just waiting on servos and control boards. So he's definitely got this down to a science now with the animatronics, and I'm very proud of him on that. And he still loves the model trains. He can pick out differences, much like the dummy A unit that was just converted with the motors taken out. He was able to spot some differences. It is an older model compared to the one that I have. The one I have is a newer model compared to that one. So, and the one thing I did find out, in case y'all do buy the Menards locomotive, take your motors out, take them apart, and clean and re-lube the gears in it, because they're not really lubed with anything. So white lithium grease or a synthetic grease, just light coat on the gearing, will be sufficient and keep them running for quite a while. So that's really about it. Just an update. I'll get another video out here in just a little while where y'all can see the one controller operating both locomotives, and that'll just do a circle test track, nothing fancy, and then we'll go from there. As always, keep the shiny side up and rubber down. I will see y'all on the next video here in just a little while, and we'll get a good running session on that one. See y'all then. Y'all have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Be safe out there.